start.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I talk first, or?
Yeah, you're at, let me get the
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock on the dot. So you're at bat. You're the pinch hitter.
Okay, hi everyone. So I'll be just going over what I have proposed for fiscal year 2021. I'll just go down each light item, and then if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So first, we have the salary for the director, which is mine. What I've proposed here is just 2% higher than from the last fiscal year, going by the COLA for the non-union pay schedule. You'll see that the change amount's still a little bit lower. That's because the interim director's salary was incorporated in 2020s for when I was on maternity leave. Next is the line item for the COA clerk's wages. I put that together based on the wage of $16.63 per hour, grade 3, step 1. Last year, there was discussion because the position went from 20 to 10 based on some concerns of Mr. Martin. He was willing to change things based on my report on how everything went, and he was, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm just recalling our discussion. We had talked about going from 10 to 15 hours per week for fiscal year 2021. It was 30 per pay period, so 15 per week. For the outreach worker wages, her wage right now is $18.04 per hour. With the cost of living adjustment, that goes to $18.40. I'm not requesting any changes for the hours for this position, so the formula is just the wage pay periods. For the senior lunch coordinator wages, which I actually think is on, yes, that's on the next page. So, the senior lunch program has its own. Her wage for fiscal year 2021 is proposed to be $18.5 an hour based on the cost of living increase. For fiscal year 2020, it was a 20-hour per week position, and the activities coordinator position was 10 hours per week, and it's the same employee with both roles, so that totaled to 30 hours per week. Mr. Martin and I discussed changing it to 15-15 for both positions. We felt that was more appropriate with the duties and what the person was ending up doing throughout the day. So instead of 20, this one would be 15. And that's how I calculated that total. Back on the rest of the Council on Aging line items, I am proposing to add a line item for the activity coordinator position. In past years, the position was fully funded by the Executive Office of Elder Affairs through the annual formula grant. I'm requesting for fiscal year 2021 that the town of Granby match the position 50%. Part of why I'm asking that is because with the change in proportion, that position is going from 10 to 15 hours per week, so that requires more money. So I'm requesting a match there. I'm keeping the requested funds for our part-time wages, which is for our drivers through our transportation program, same as last year, $18,201. I'm also requesting the same funds for the repair and maintenance of office supplies at $650. Same for the repair and maintenance of the vehicles. I'm requesting the same amount of $1,100. Same goes for printing newsletters, $700. For postage, $800. Office supplies, $700. Mileage, meals, meetings, $50. And then dues, I increased by a small amount considering that they'll likely go up a little bit for the next fiscal year. So that just went from $323 to $350. And then the last line item, which is a proposed one, is for a dishwasher. Our current one is 8 years old, and as of very lately, we're starting to encounter some issues with it as far as its cleaning and draining, and so accounting for that, we haven't had it professionally evaluated yet, but just because it's a more recent issue, but we wanted to account for that potential expense as it's an important tool that we use multiple times a day, every day.
Are you going to have it evaluated before we purchase a new one?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this, I got a quote, $5,643.75.
My question is, you talked about repairs and stuff like that for vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything like that is, I guess, some vehicles have a certain mileage that's required to have X, Y, and Z done? Does any of that like fall under where you are now? So just the normal maintenance?
We're not anticipating anything coming up. Like I haven't been told that we're expecting a specific service, but this is for unanticipated expenses, which we had a couple of in this past fiscal year.
Okay. Just want to make sure in case that is, it's required to have A, B, and C done, that you're funded right.
Right, and that we don't have to go back later. Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else to quote? It's pretty much straightforward.
Okay.
Any questions for us?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Do we gotta wait all the way to 5:30?
Good night, everyone.
Night.
I know it, that's why I just asked Chris. Well, that's why I wanted to make sure I can violate open meeting laws by starting too early. You want to come on up, Bill?
Hello. How are you? Try to slide this on.
Too far away.
Can I turn it that way? So did you want me to just start rambling, or did you want to start with questions, or? Ramble away? Okay, all right. Well, I think, first and foremost, the budget is pretty straightforward. It reflects pretty much what we already have and are doing. Some of the bigger, more, noticeable changes are surrounded in what we've already talked about in terms of going from more part-time employees to full-time, less part-time employees to more full-time equivalents of those same employees. So you see some changes in the budgets there in terms of from one to the other. This year we had 2 people go to the academy in this fiscal year. One's about to go, should be done before the end of the fiscal year, so that's a change in this as well. In terms of the changes, you see some changes from the full-time wage increases, the part-time wage decreases. Certainly the overtime increased this year because of people going to the academy and things like that. We expect that to decrease with nobody going to the academy and hopefully being able to not have to fill every little thing every time somebody's out. There's some other increases that I certainly can explain if you'd like. Most of them are related to just different services and things like that. Other than that, it's a 2% increase over last year, which is what we were requested to provide. Trying to see if there's anything else. Just some kind of general information. We're going to be getting a new live scan fingerprint system through a grant through the state in this fiscal year. I believe that's somewhere, the equipment will be somewhere around $30,000, that we won't have to pay for, which is great. The only problem, or the only drawback to that is that's going to require us to have a new service contract, which we'll have to pick up in next year's fiscal year budget. So that was some good news. We do have some requests into capital for, I think it's tomorrow. I have tomorrow. One of the things that is in the budget, it's on the dispatch side of the budget, is a new computer system, a new server and computers for the dispatch and the police department. That's relative to some mandatory software upgrades that we're going to need for next fiscal year to stay compliant with our state computer systems. So. Really, like I said, it's really straightforward. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them. It reflects the same number of people we have right now. Same number of vehicles we have right now, nothing new along those lines, so.
The only question I had, you have to excuse me, I broke my glasses today. So the ones I have, I can drive with, but I can't read too good. So I'm
Okay.
going to be a little slow on that. I can do the screen good because it's big, but not the paper I wrote on. Account 5142, $129,488. Is that the Quinn bill?
You're in police. What was the account number, Jay?
5142.
Yep, that is the Quinn bill, yep. Or
Okay.
education incentive, yes.
What is the status of your offices on what degrees they currently have, and what can we expect, what is foreseeable in the future? In other words, how many guys with bachelors that probably going on for masters, how many guys with associates going for bachelors? Because, I mean, you're talking a 10, 20, or 25% increase of the base pay.
Right, and I can tell you right now, 4 or 5 currently have master's degrees. 1, 2, I believe 3 have bachelor's degrees. And we have an officer with an associate's degree. And obviously those are subject to change other
Yeah.
than the master's degrees. I think that's about right. I may have missed one in there, but most of our people, in fact, all of our people, with the exception of one that I can think of, 2 of them that I can think of, have degrees of some sort, meaning full-timers. We do have some part-time officers
But
who
they're
have.
not into the Quinn bill.
They are,
Well, part-time?
yep.
too?
And just for clarity, we always refer to that as the Quinn bill, but it's really an educational incentive.
Yeah, it's,
So there's no reimbursement for the state from that
that's
currently.
what I read in Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 108L.
That can always change.
Well, the state stopped paying in 2010, right?
They did. Well, they stopped funding it. The Quinn bill is still the Quinn bill. It's still a law. They're just not, it's an unfunded mandate. Do I think it'll ever come back? No, I don't. But,
Well, under when I read it, it's at the option of the town, but we won't discuss that now. That's not for another time. It's not,
It's supposed to be at the option of the town. Once you accept it, you can't get out of it.
oh, that I didn't know. You can't get out of it.
No, because I think it was the city of Boston tried to get out. Didn't they, a couple of years back? And the arbitration board said they couldn't, that they were still
yeah, I think
required.
you're really talking about 2 different things. You're talking about a legal issue and you're talking, well, following the law issue, and you're also talking about contractual violations that, I don't know all of Boston's situation, but I do know ours. So that's a different.
But they did try to get out, to rescind the Quinn bill.
Mhm.
And ended up going to arbitration, and arbitration ruled in favor of the union. So,
So I believe those numbers that I reported to you are right. They're, without having exactly each person in front of me, I think that's what that is.
Or anybody currently, like, do you know that's in school right now?
I do, yes, we have one 2 officers with bachelor's degrees that are currently actively, pursuing their masters. We have 1 employee who's currently pursuing his associates. And as far as I know, that's it right now.
So it could change.
Yeah.
And that's-
Well, it's
that's just real, that's-
there's a cost to it, but it's also a very good thing.
Yeah.
Having educated officers, there's a lot of benefits to that. A lot of studies that show that.
And stick with them.
Absolutely.
And your total staff, you got, including yourself?
Officers and dispatchers, including me, there's 10 officers, plus me, 11, 4 full-time dispatchers, and 5 part-time police officers.
Okay, and the officers include Lieutenant O'Brady's.
Correct.
And 1 chief. Okay, any more questions for our police chief?
What are you doing with the old scanner,
Old scanner.
the fingerprint scanner?
They usually make us get rid of them. I don't know that to be 100% true this time, but what they used to do was, this was a different company, but that company, they would do a trade-in, and that trade-in was that they would have whoever came to install it, smash it. Because they didn't want it to be reused anywhere else.
Like, did you got that fingerprint thing last year through a grant, right?
This year,
This year.
we're getting it this year
Okay,
through a grant,
this
right?
year.
So-
But every subsequent year, we're gonna have to pay for it.
We're gonna have to pay for a service contract, which we have to pay for a service contract on it anyway. On even the current stuff, it's just a little less expensive than what the proposed live scan will be. So that's not new, we've always had to pay for a service
A
agreement.
service, right.
Just, this is a different one, a little bit more expensive.
You got a $30,000 piece of equipment for,
Yeah,
No,
I'll
it's
say free, but it's what
Right.
it was.
it's like you buy an HP printer, they sell them to you for nothing, you're gonna make it more up in ink.
right.
Eventually.
So to answer your question about the live scan, I don't know how this grant will work. If we can, I would love to be able to use it in another area of the department for permits. I just don't know that we're gonna be able to.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
Because you need to keep, if you used it in another place, then you'd have to subscribe to 2 different services, right?
Well, if we were going to use it in the permitting room, we would probably use it more as a card printer. So rather than, like right now, we do fingerprints and we submit them electronically. If we were to use it in the permits area, I would foresee using it as a card printer. So we would fingerprint somebody, print it out onto the cards, and then mail those to the Firearms Records Bureau. I'm not sure that they're allowing electronic submissions yet. They may be, but I'm not sure.
I don't know, that's all I was just thinking of, Chris mentioned using it elsewhere, I don't know, if it's a different service will require a different amount of money to add to it. In other words, the service would follow the machine.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did you have a different use for that outside of the police department? Is that why you were asking, or were you just thinking if we were going to use it somewhere else?
I was just curious if you could sell it to somebody else, put it on,
Oh, I see.
put it on a muni bid
Yeah.
or whatever, or an auction house,
I'll
or
find out. I'll find out from the state police what
for
the
other
situation is.
departments who may have a
Yeah.
need for it.
Yeah,
That's all, I'm just,
Okay.
Yeah.
instead of just taking a hammer to it.
right. Yeah, I'll find out. I'm not sure how this grant works with that.
Okay, I was just,
'Cause the state, it's actually not a grant that we got, the state got it, and they distributed it to us, so,
I was just thinking, some
Yeah.
other poor department,
sure. Makes sense.
you know.
You're not gonna be here, I just I'll ask a question, away from the budget for a second here. I noticed then on my reading material about behind West Street School,
Mm-hmm.
I saw Jeremy wrote up on the 2nd of January, they tore it up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw the 2 videos.
yeah.
I didn't see it in your police weekly report.
I may not have even, I've overlooked putting it in there, yeah.
I didn't know if you didn't put it for a reason.
No,
or-
no reason, just I overlooked the fact that it happened. It's happened a few times now. That's one of those things that unless you happen to be there, unless you're gonna sit there 24 hours, you gotta catch somebody
Well, I noticed
specifically
the
doing it.
last select board meeting, they did catch somebody doing burnouts there.
No, that's not accurate. Not that I'm aware of. A vehicle drove through there, didn't drive through the yard, it drove through the parking lot, and I believe one of the town employees was in the building working
Yes,
at the
there was
time.
two of them there.
Yeah, I don't believe there was any damage done that time. The person just drove through the parking lot.
And the officer talked to him.
He did, yes,
I remember reading it.
yeah.
I didn't know if it was the same type of vehicle that,
I don't think so. No, in fact, I know it wasn't, because that car, I remember having the conversation with the lieutenant, that car was like a Lexus, and he said there's no way that the kid was gonna take his Lexus out there into the parking lot and do that, into the garage, or the grass to do that, so. This was a pickup truck. The video was well, you saw it. It was a
yeah,
pickup
I
truck.
saw it, but like I said, my eyes aren't that good today without the right glasses.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the video at night,
Yeah,
it's not great, so,
get you a thermal one.
yeah, yeah. Put that in as a request as well.
Any more questions for our chief of police?
No, he's very thorough in his.
Yeah, your reports about, weekly reports, I would say the best out of
Thank you.
anybody.
I appreciate that. We've been doing them a long time now, so.
Yeah, the only thing, you run on your sentences, I gotta figure out what.
There's a lot to say.
Yeah, one subject starts and it stops, and another one starts.
All set?
Yep.
Okay.
Does anybody else?
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah,
Take care,
you too.
Is Greg upstairs?
Turn one on.
Is the building inspector here?
She's going upstairs to get him.
Searching for my phone and it's in my pocket. I forgot to turn it off.
I just never turn mine on. Unless I need it. This one's this is the straightforward one of most, 2% raise across the board. At least when I did a calculation.
Yeah, it seemed to follow at 2%.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Basically, I don't know how you want to do it. To me, your budget is straightforward. It's a 2% increase across the board from what you spent last year.
That's about how I understand it.
I assume Mr. Martin helped you with it.
No, he did himself.
Oh, you did himself? Oh, I assumed you helped him with it because, you know. I didn't see any other changes. When I did the calculations, everything went up 2% and that was it.
Yeah, there were a couple categories where
There were a few decreases.
decreases,
Office
where I
supplies
just
and
haven't been spending money.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Other departments spend it regardless.
Do you have any issues, concerns that would be
Uh,
presented?
You mean about the budget?
Yeah.
No, pretty straightforward.
Mhm. I didn't have anything on my notes about this at all because it was just a straight 2% across the board increase.
Yeah, I'm not looking for any equipment or,
Yeah, there was nothing there. So, I don't have any questions myself.
I've got nothing.
Looks like I get a free pass, Greg.
all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
This probably isn't the right time or place, but I've been contacted, I tried to contact you about somebody who wanted to know whether battery storage capacity fell under the moratorium for solar fields.
Battery storage?
It would.
It does.
I'd have to look at that.
Yeah, it does. Under, it would come under the site plan what Glenn would do if they were gonna have, it's called resiliency. You're gonna see it more and more, whereas the battery storage of the unused electricity, more and more it involves the fire department and stuff like that, in case something happens
Yeah.
hazardous.
I'd want to see what exactly our
Yeah,
moratorium
you-
is for, so
yeah.
it actually falls, I don't know if it falls under moratorium though. I'd like to see if it
Oh,
actually
the
falls under. that's
moratorium,
what you said. Yeah, that's
okay.
right, I don't think it falls under that.
I don't see what.
Rather than just give out your names to the people that are asking, I said I'd ask.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we can look at, but I don't.
Sure.
I
The
don't know.
moratorium's almost over anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's something we can look at.
And
But
I'm sure
I
he'll be
don't
back
think it
around.
does.
Okay.
Moratorium ends January 31st.
Yeah, the end of the
Yep.
month,
So actually, yeah, about 3 weeks left anyways.
yeah. So,
Okay.
by the time they do the paperwork and permit to get the Glen, the 3 weeks
Yeah.
will probably be up anyway.
The moratorium is more towards the
Solar panel.
solar panels.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, right. Well, that was my
Yeah,
understanding. but
large scale solar panel farms.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It doesn't take up anywhere near the amount of space. I think they were talking about an acre or two.
No, it doesn't. Like I said, the moratorium is for large scale, because some you're allowed that by right.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay.
all set?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Martin, you want us to take a recess, or you want to
Adjourn.
just adjourn?
It's adjourn.
Okay. Well, I guess I make a motion that we adjourn until, was it 6 o'clock or 6:30? What's the next?
6:30.
6:30. We adjourn. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn in a second. Any more discussion on the adjournment? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.